Warning, this video contains team selection and captain choices which some viewers may find offensive.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before looking at my Game Week 12 review, a quick word about OneFootball who have kindly sponsored this video. The world's best football news app is now even better, relaunching with a fresh new design. Gain access to news, scores and stats from leagues all over the world, with a brand new interface that's cleaner, simpler and smarter than ever. As for FPL, you can follow each team in the Premier League and get live updates from all the goals and assists every game week. Download it for free using the link in the description box below. There were very few positives in Game Week 12, but one of them was certainly Martinez in goal, who produced a lovely 11-pointer away to Wolves. Despite Villa having their fixture postponed in the previous game week, I chose to hold on to Martinez, and with this double-digit haul, it was nice to have at least one decision vindicated there. I also held on to Jack Grealish through that blank game week as well, and although he didn't return against Wolves, I was more than happy with a combined 13 points from the pair last week. In defence, it was a poor showing last week, at least in terms of FPL, with blanks all round. Reece James at Chelsea was very exciting to watch once again, and in that game against Everton, he had a free kick well saved as well as hitting the post. So very close to a big score there, but unfortunately it just wasn't to be. With me having the two big hitters De Bruyne and Fernandes facing each other in Game Week 12, what I really didn't need was a drab 0-0 stalemate. And that's exactly what we got in an incredibly disappointing Manchester derby. Because I've got both of them, this game was always going to be a tricky one to manoeuvre in Game Week 12. But now that that game is out of the way, they both have a nice run of upcoming fixtures, so hopefully a lot more points to come there. There was one return in midfield, and that was my captain Mo Salah, who scored a penalty against Fulham. I really fancied a big score from the Egyptian here, but in the end, getting that penalty ended up feeling rather fortunate, with Fulham the team that put in a superb display. An 8-pointer from Salah was fairly underwhelming, especially because I sold Vardy to fund the move. But ultimately, he was still my highest scoring outfield player, and therefore I was at least right to hand him the armband. My other signing last week was to bring in my arch nemesis Callum Wilson, a player that I have a particularly bad record with in FPL. A home fixture against West Brom seemed a very nice one to get Wilson off the mark in my side, but despite them scoring 2 goals, he wasn't involved in either and ended up getting booked, so a fitting start to life in my team. I did bring Wilson in with the next few games in mind though, and with both Leeds and Fulham coming up, he'll get a few more chances to prove his worth. Elsewhere up front, both Calvert-Lewin and Bamford returned an assist apiece, and I can't see either of those two leaving my team for the time being. So for Game Week 12, it was an underwhelming 51 points altogether. Without wanting to repeat myself too much, it was a game week that was kind of fitting of my season in general so far. Not a disaster, but also nothing special either. Just another mundane score that's close to the average, and therefore keeps me treading water. A score of 51 ended up being a very small red arrow from 1.6 to 1.8 million, and I've hovered around this position for a few game weeks now. Overall, I'm still fairly happy with how my squad is shaping up, so hopefully the next few weeks will bring a bit more progress. With that, let's move on to Game Week 13 now, and see how the side is currently lining up for Tuesday's deadline. Also, if you are enjoying the content here at FPL TV, then be sure to leave a like and most importantly get subscribed. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. As mentioned, I'm pretty happy with how my squad is shaping up currently, and for the upcoming game week in particular, I'm not sure there's any real pressing issues. When possible, I always like the chance to save my free transfer, and I'd say this current lineup looks in good enough shape to do so. The one small concern I'd say I have going into this game week is that since doubling up on the Chelsea defence 2 game weeks ago, they've not kept a clean sheet in either game. They do have Wolves up next though, a side that aren't scoring particularly heavily, so I'm hoping there may be an outside chance of a clean sheet there, just like Aston Villa proved over the weekend. There is one small change to the side this week, with me choosing to play Soufal at home to Palace at the expense of Patrick Van Aanholt. I've got defenders from both teams in this one, but in a game like this I'll usually back the home fixture. This means that Van Aanholt will take first place on my bench for Game Week 13, a decent enough backup for this week. Looking at my bench, I think this shows where my squad is lacking at the moment, with players like Riedewald and Mitchell for example both non-starters. With a very busy Christmas schedule coming up, I would like to improve the depth of my squad at some point, and if I can spare enough transfers, I'd like to downgrade Van Aanholt to a cheaper defender and then upgrade Riedewald to West Ham's Souček, a 5 million midfielder who is offering a superb value at the moment. At just 4.8 million, John Stones could be a possibility, with Man City having a very good chance of a clean sheet at home to West Brom this week. But there's no guarantees he keeps his place in the team, and because I've got Soufal at home to Palace anyway, that may just do for this week and I'll hold the transfer. The only big decision I've got to make this week is the captaincy choice, and it's a real 50-50 coin toss in Game Week 13 between De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. They're both so hard to separate this game week because they both boast fixtures against the league's two bottom clubs, West Brom and Sheffield United. In Man City's previous two home fixtures against Burnley and Fulham, De Bruyne certainly did the business, with double-digit hauls in both. And on their day, I definitely trust Man City to score more goals than United. My concern though is that although I trust Man City to score more goals, they also have the ability to share the goals out, whereas when United score, there's a much better chance of it going through Bruno. Bruno's away form this season is simply stupendous as well, where in 5 away games in the Premier League so far this season, he hasn't blanked once, hitting double figures in 4 of those 5 fixtures. It's not a decision I've made up my mind on yet, but having watched Sheffield United look so poor against Southampton over the weekend, I think I may go Bruno, who you could argue is less of a rotation risk than De Bruyne during this very busy schedule. So that's how my team currently lines up for Game Week 13. As mentioned, the captaincy is something I may change my mind on before the deadline. So if you'd like to see the final team lineup, then as always, I'll post it over on Twitter shortly before the game week starts. Good luck to you all for Game Week 13, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.